You're listening to WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 FM, 107.3 FM. I am the last DJ. This is Campus Connect, and we have a special guest here in the studio today, my friend Nicole Paterson. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be here with you.
Great having you. It feels like such a long time ago that we scheduled this. It was way back in September. It was like the week before Christmas is so far away, and then you blank, and here we are. And the reason we scheduled it for this time of year is a lot of times we're talking about heavy stuff on the air, and I thought it would be a nice thing to send you off into the holiday with some nourishment for the mind and soul. So we're going to talk a little bit wellness and Stony Brook wellness, as Nicole that's her area of expertise. So let's start off just telling us a little bit about what you do, your role here at Stony Brook, and what you bring to the campus.
Absolutely. Well, I love that idea, and just bringing some warmth and gentleness as we move into the holidays, because it does get a little chaotic. But my job at Stony Brook, I have a two-part position here. So part of my job is Healthier You, and I get to go out and understand how employees are doing, what employees are interested in when it comes to wellness. We do everything. We do fitness classes. We have a birding program. We do building succulents, like anything you can think of that brings people joy and wellness in their life. We are doing it. If you're hearing this and you didn't hear me list something that you want to do, please reach out, because we can make a new program. We also have an EAP program on campus, and that is Employee Assistance Program. And this is available for all employees that work here. It's a state negotiated benefit, 100% confidential. So when people are going through some challenging stuff, they can reach out to myself or Alexis, and we're able to help in any way with getting them resources they need. We're also able to help with the fun stuff. Maybe people are looking to adopt. Maybe they're looking to go back to school. And so we can help get those resources for them too. So I also want to add, I'm also a student here. Just finished my fall semester, Master of Social Work. So I am basically Stony Brook through and through in this moment of my life, and I love it.
A sea wolf to the core.
Sea wolf to the core.
Before we move ahead, you mentioned people reaching out to you for things they might be interested in. What's the best way to do that?
You got it. So I would say the best way to reach out is actually by email. Okay. I am mobile. I'm on West Campus. I'm in the hospital. I'm also remote a little bit too. So my email, I'll spell it out for you. It's Nicole, no hole in there, just Nicole .Paterson with one T, so Paterson at stonybrook.edu.
And what department are you part of also?
Yeah, so Healthier You is technically under Human Resources, and then EAP, again, it's that state negotiated benefit. So we're reporting through our regional representative and then all the way up through Albany. So that part is kind of through the state. It's not technically under Stony Brook.
Okay.
Yeah.
You came across my radar when you kind of gave a class to my group earlier in the semester, and it struck me then that how unaware I was of these services, and then it dawned on me that probably a lot of people were unaware that these things exist right here on campus, and it's one of the intents here with this interview is to spread that message out there that not just around the holidays, but all through the semester and between semesters, we have resources on campus to help with pretty much anything that would make your life easier, physically or mentally. Just reach out and start the ball rolling. And Nicole is one of the people that can help you do that. And I had the fortune of taking a yoga class with you just earlier this week. And,
yes.
And it was, I've been meaning to do that for so long. And it was another thing that I signed up for. And then
You've been meaning to do yoga for so long? Is that what you meant? Or?
Yes, because I have to do something, and it's right here on campus. And the hardest part of doing something like that is getting off your chair.
Absolutely.
So this particular yoga class, a couple of us did it. So I had people pushing me.
Yep.
And
it was on your lunch break.
It was on my lunch break. And it also it was like a day or two after the Rob Reiner thing. And I was just in a bad state of mind. And I remember when I got up to go to the yoga class, I was just like, I'm just leaving everything here.
Yes.
And it definitely did that.
Oh,
it definitely helped me.
Good.
And I hope to continue that, into the new semester.
Yeah, it's amazing how when we do things that take us out of our comfort zone, we tend to be able to let these other things go. And it just happens with some ease sometimes. And maybe a little push from our friends, but...
And, the mental part of it is really, for me, it's I'm going to say it's the harder part. The physical part is just laziness, but the mental part of taking care of yourself, it's not so easily done.
Absolutely.
And something I've struggled with, I just have one of those minds that race, and sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. And I never really learned how to just leave the present behind even for half an hour.
Well, we want to find the present in every moment. And I hear you, because you're not alone. There's so many people that deal with this. I'm sure so many listeners can identify. I can identify with that as well. But when you do start these routines and you do start these practices, you start to feel the benefits of them. And so those are the things that start eventually pulling you back in too. So, but I hear you. I get it.
How long have you been at Stony Brook?
I've been at Stony Brook in my position for about 8 months.
Okay.
And I am in my second year of the program for the MSW. So
you would have started towards the end of the spring semester.
I started towards the end of the spring
last
semester.
year.
Yep. May 8th, actually. I do remember the date.
Okay. Ocho de Mayo. The forgotten May holiday. We'll talk more about that when we get into May.
No discount tacos on that day.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because the tradition actually was Seis de Mayo for that exact reason, where we would go out on Cinco de Mayo and there would be a long line to get in, and the prices were doubled. And I was just like, we should just do it on May 6th and have a normal lunch. And people were like, that's actually a really good idea. So we kind of started this tradition of Seis de Mayo. And
great.
I was talking about my bands, and one of the things I try to do around May is whatever the date is, like Ocho de Mayo or Cuatro de Mayo, and just kind of add some fun into that. But not to divert the conversation, but
I always talk about good Mexican food anytime. I'm originally from Southern California, so please.
Where which part of California?
Southern California, Orange County area.
How long have you been in New York?
Since 2018. So I'm official. I'm here now.
I have questions.
Okay.
I always have questions when people move from like what you consider to be one of the pristine parts of the country to, I grew up here. I've lived my whole life here, so I'm attached to it sentimentally. But what brought you to Long Island?
My husband.
That's a good reason.
So
he didn't want to go to Southern California.
Well, he did actually. He came out there with me for a year. Cost of living is pretty similar between the two, but he, like you, has been here his whole life, and his family as well. And so I loved that idea. My family's pretty dispersed around the country, so I was a little more mobile. And while I do love California, I will always have a huge place in my heart for it. If I was to ever go back, it would probably be more northern Oregon, Washington area.
Okay.
Southern California is great. It's just, and I know people listening are probably going to roll their eyes, but 365 days of sunshine. I love seasons. I love people here are, they'll tell you how they feel right in your face. I learned how to use my horn. I learned how to use my blinker. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Driving on Long Island is definitely an education.
Yeah, and LA is not any better, so I was prepared. I was ready.
Do you like New York City?
I do. I love New York City, and my family has deep roots out here as well. So it feels, I don't know, I felt a sense of home the second I got back here, and I just love being here.
It's great to hear, and it's something that a lot of New Yorkers and Long Islanders and people like me, you just take the area you live in for granted. You know, people on Long Island forget that Long Island is a vacation land to the rest of the country.
The beaches are beautiful. There's so much to do. There's so much access. You just have to learn how to navigate it.
Yeah, and make the time to do it. And
absolutely,
every so often, like just last week, we went to see the light show at Jones Beach, the Christmas lights, and I'm like, I really have to come here more. It's like you don't take advantage of it, and I'll probably be telling you the same story next Christmas. But how has this response on campus been to seeking out these services? Is the word getting out? Are people amenable and willing to make the time for wellness?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple answers to that. So I think first off, there are so many people here doing such incredible stuff, which we were talking about before. And with that comes these different schedules, these different expectations, these different workloads. So people are incredibly open to putting themselves out there, to showing up for stuff. Does it fit into their schedule? That's the thing we're always trying to accommodate. But absolutely, people are really excited about stuff. We have great turnouts for things. We also do things for departments. So like Marcom, we did the presentation for Wellness as a Journey. We can do things like that. But then we can also do larger scale things as well, where it's just open to everybody. Anyone's welcome to come. Hospital yoga happens Wednesday afternoons at 3:15. I teach that class every week. So if you're in the area, please stop by. But we have other things too. So people have been showing up, and we also understand when they can't, we have busy schedules.
And as a member of the Stony Brook community in Marcom, as Nicole said, if anyone's out there listening on campus, I would recommend you set up one of those classes, because it's really, it's eye-opening just to see what's available. And it's also a fun event. You kind of sometimes take the people you work with for granted and get too caught up in the work part of a relationship. Yep. And something like that, it's nice to experience with people you work with something not directly related to work.
Absolutely.
And it's right here on campus, no cost. If you can make the time, the last DJ recommends that. The people, what kind of ratio between students and staff members and faculty do you find taking you up on these opportunities?
So I'm 100% staff and faculty.
Okay.
So I have the privilege to work directly with employees.
Okay.
So that's my wheelhouse and how this works. I know there's so much available on campus for students specifically. But yeah, we work solely with employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. This is the hardest question you're gonna get in the interview.
I'm sweating.
I love asking this. It's always the hardest question. What song do you want to play for people listening right now?
Ooh.
And remember, music is a window to the soul.
How about Bill Withers' Lovely Day?
Okay. Good request and kind of a deep cut. So let me go to the YouTube and call that up right now. Bill Withers.
I have an eclectic taste in music, so.
A Lovely Day, and let's make it so. That was Lovely Day by Bill Withers, by request for my guest in the studio right here, Nicole Paterson. And welcome back, Nicole.
Thank you.
You handled that request like a pro. You'd be surprised how people fumble.
It's my go-to song, especially on a day like today. It's a little rainy out. Can't be sad when that song's on.
See, that's exactly when I say music is a window to the soul. That's what I mean. You can tell a lot about a person by their request. Well, we were talking here about, how you consider this to be somewhat of a dream job. How did you first get into wellness?
Okay, well, I don't think I've ever not been into wellness. I think that's the easy way to go about it. I was an athlete when I was younger, so making sure I was eating enough and the right foods and all that was so important. But just as I grew through life, I just knew that in order to perform at a certain level, I had to be feeling at a certain level, right? So wellness has always been so important to me. And then when I transferred to my community college, I took some electives, nutrition, loved it, ended up studying public health for one of my undergraduate degrees. And it's just an incredibly important part of my life. I noticed that people in my life come to me for advice and have questions about things. My entire Audible feed and Libby feed is all about wellness. It's such an important part of feeling good,
I wonder how much of that is a Southern California thing versus New York.
I think
because here the athletes would just have an energy drink and call it wellness.
I've learned. That's a really good point. Culturally, it's very integrated. It's everywhere, Things that are popping up now here have been around in Southern California for a while, but there's a lot of wellness here too. I mean, there's people doing really incredible things, but yeah, a little more gritty for sure.
I kind of have some firsthand view into that. My daughter is a dietitian and a marathon runner and got very much into this when she was in college, which was all a new experience for me.
I'm sure. What are you eating, Dad?
Yes. I have this classic picture of, she wrote a nasty note on a box of Hot Pockets in the freezer. Oh. And it still makes me laugh when it comes up on Facebook.
It's because she loves you.
She does, and she has all the willpower that I don't have. She eats. She's like one of these perfectly balanced people where she's kind of learned how to find balance. In the beginning, she was more militant, where when she was in school, we got a call at her job. She was in tears. There was nothing for her to eat. She worked literally in a supermarket.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't even try to find something healthy in a supermarket because that's how strict she was.
See, that's when we get a little too.
Yes.
We have to come back to the center. I get that. I understand.
But she's kind of thankfully outgrown that, and really, she eats well all the time, but she doesn't cheat herself, and she can enjoy herself when that time is too. So she's really done a great job, finding that balance.
Yeah, and it takes time to find that balance.
So what do you do as a wellness professional? How do you keep in a positive state of mind? What do you do to stay balanced?
So many things. I mean, I think your daughter's story is such a perfect example of, you learn these things that are so important and you can't unsee them once you have this new lens. So I think educating yourself is so, so, so important. But also just having, some TLC to yourself. The holidays are coming up. You should be able to get together with family and eat whatever it is that you want to eat and do what you want to do and not be hard on yourself about that whatsoever. But I think I have this mindset of, what am I doing 90% of the time? If I have a night where I'm not sleeping well, or maybe a day where I drink too much caffeine, or whatever it might be for me that kind of throws me off, what am I doing the other days? How can I recalibrate that? What are the things that help me reset, recharge? This framework, the 8 dimensions of wellness, is something that really helps me organize that in my brain, because what we're eating is so important. What we're doing with our bodies is also so important. But also, who are we talking to on a day-to-day basis? How are you communicating with your communities, your friends, your family? What does your spiritual wellness look like, whether it's religion or whether it's meditation? How are you connecting to something greater than yourself? So having this complex framework really helps me kind of think, okay, if I'm really not feeling balanced or well, what could I put a little bit more energy and love into to kind of get that going?
That's very well stated. I think one of the things that scares a lot of people when you consider these things is they kind of look at it as a box that you can't ever stray out of. And I always, when I've tried to be good, I always found that moderation was the path, not deprivation.
Yes.
And so you eat like a bite of the chocolate bar instead of the whole chocolate bar, but that one bite enabled me to get through tomorrow without eating the whole chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Where when you deprive yourself, you have that day where it just gets to you and you eat the whole chocolate bar.
Definitely. But also I would say to you, you're always good. We're all always good. But we also have these other pretty large organizations, if you will, that are putting these foods out there, and we have all of this, marketing with this yellow and red, and it's constantly in our face, it's constantly around us, and the chemicals that are in it can be really hard to step away from sometimes. So I just want to acknowledge a lot of these things are, a little bit bigger than us, but we're all always good. And I think the idea of moderation, so if chocolate is your thing, which I see you, chocolate is my thing too, what chocolate do you like? And, getting a little bit whenever you need it. You tend to find that when you're eating well and you're feeling well and you're focusing on the things that make you feel good, you don't need as much of that. And if you do once in a while, that is normal, especially as a woman. We have our hormones to deal with too. So completely normal.
I would say before you say everyone's good that you missed the frozen pizza I had for lunch by about 30 seconds when you came in.
Hey, I had frozen pizza 2 nights ago, so what's wrong with the frozen pizza, okay?
Thank you for saying that. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Right?
But I remember I was eating it, like kind of rushing through, like... if she sees you eating this, she's going to lose respect for you.
Oh my
so
gosh,
it's kind of nice to hear that sometimes,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so I have a 2-part question for you here.
Okay.
The first part is as we head into the holidays, and the second part is more in a general sense. What could you recommend, like what one thing could you tell people heading into the holidays to kind of keep the food and spiritual demons at bay? And once we get past the holidays, because we're going to get into the New Year's resolutions and what's bigger than eating more healthy or working out more, what's a good first step for people who genuinely are trying to be good and something they can do in a reasonable, manageable way without biting up too much up front?
Yeah, I think just having that state of kindness at front of mind with yourself, with people around you, having that ability to kind of just look, if you want to engage in having whatever yummy treats are around, great. Maybe you look forward to your grandmother's cookies that are made every week. Just go for it, right? This is the time of year. I think the New Year's resolution is really interesting because I really value New Year's resolutions, but I say that as somebody who is always setting goals year round, sometimes week by week, sometimes day by day. But I think the New Year is such a great time to restart. So if we can come into that thought process with kindness, what intentions do you want to set for the new year? Maybe not focusing so much on a size or a number on a scale, but instead a feeling that you want to feel. So maybe sometimes in the past we would say, oh, I want to be able to wear my bikini again, or I want to be this size, whatever it is. Why would you want to do that anyways? Is it because you want to go to the beach and you want to feel great and you want to feel free and run around? I think that's the part to focus on. What could you do to get to that part where you're at the beach, you're enjoying the sunny days as they come back to us? What are the things that you could do now every single day that will then evolve into that being able to be a reality?
Having said that, people you work with, what do you see as being hurdles to, sticking with a program or for the long term? What trips up people?
I think people make really extreme commitments. And this is coming from somebody who was a former rock climber. I've done a lot of extreme stuff, so I get it. But the reality is that we should just do these like kind of bite-sized things that are attainable. There's so many different paths you can take, and I think if there's any extreme restriction that's happening, it's, most of the time it's just not going to work for people. So what does your life look like? What does your budget look like? What does the access around you to food look like? And trying to find something that works for that. Because there's so many different ways to make it work. And again, if anybody wants to reach out and we could talk about whatever you're dealing with personally, I'm happy to help in any way. We have connections to dietitians and nutritionists and all the people. But it's really one size fits all. I talk to so many people that are doing so many different things. And look, some people, love certain diets and they've been doing it for a long time and it works for them. And kudos to them. For other people, it's just finding that balance, as you said your daughter had.
I guess part of the trick to what you do is finding the path to connect with the person, and everyone has a different path.
Absolutely. But that's the fun part. I love that. People are so unique, and they have these stories, and they have these traditions and these cultures, and everybody's doing it right. But I think that people get caught up in wanting to be good, wanting to be perfect, and that's just not a reality. We're human beings. We're just doing the best we can.
That's a good thought to leave this segment on. Now I'll have a request. Okay. For one of my friends in Markham, Ellen Cook, who's one of the most positive people I know.
Yes.
Also a big Jason Isbell fan. So there's this song that both of us have spoken about that's kind of, one of those songs that you can't really be sad hearing. Hope the High Road by Jason Isbell is going to take you through the next 3 minutes and 23 seconds. You're listening to Campus Connect. I am the last DJ in the studio with our special guest, Nicole Paterson, who we've been talking Stony Brook wellness for the past 36 minutes and 44 seconds. And we still got some more wellness to talk about. And we're just talking during that last Jason Isbell song, which I dedicated to Ellen Cook. And we both mutually love that song, Hope the High Road. And while that was playing, we were talking here in the studio about maybe talking about the mental health angle of well-being.
Yes.
And I probably could have queued it up better than that. But that's what we got, Nicole.
I'm here for it. Let's go. So another dimension of wellness that is so important is our emotional well-being. And fortunately, these days, we're talking a lot more about it. I think the pandemic had a big push with that too. But as somebody that is currently in school to become a social worker, and as somebody who is a massive proponent and advocate for therapy, I think it's really important, as much as we talk about what we're eating and how we're moving our body, how are we feeling? Who do we have to talk to about that? Are we struggling? Are we dealing with grief? Are we, whatever it might be, right? So I think just having the ability to know where to reach out, how to reach out. Students, again, have so many abilities on campus to reach out to CAPS and the Student Health Center. But I know for employees, it might be a little bit more difficult sometimes. So EAP is always here to help, even though we are clinically trained. We are not providing clinical work, but we are able to connect to resources. So a lot of the times what I'm doing is I am providing referrals to therapists for employees, also for their family members, maybe their children or their spouse. And then that's a benefit that's also available after retirement too. So again, that's employees, that's their families, and that's after retirement, we're able to help in any way. But speaking about mental health specifically, if you are struggling or if you do need to reach out and talk to somebody, we also have the national 988 number. So anywhere, anytime, anywhere in the United States, you can call, text, or chat. You're able to get a trained license or a trained crisis professional that's able to assess what you're going through and see how they can help you. what's really great about it too is that it's local to where you are. So say I was to take a trip back to Southern California, reach out there, they would give me resources that are local to that area. So just like here, even if you were not in crisis, but you were really struggling with something and wanted some resources, you could reach out to them and they could give you some local communities or local organizations that are able to help with that.
It's hard to find a silver lining in COVID, but if there are any, one of the silver linings, I think, is that people became more accepting of one, asking for help, yes, and admitting that they needed help, and more importantly, reaching out for that help.
Absolutely.
I think the pandemic kind of shone a light on a lot of things that are really important that you take for granted.
Yes.
And when people were deprived of that, you really got to see the importance of human contact and the arts. Yes. It came up in my job, which a fun part is I get to talk to a lot of people, but I noticed coming out of COVID, the arts would pop into almost every story. Like you'd be talking to someone who's into astrophysics and they'd be talking about painting in their spare time, or talking to a doctor and they'd be talking about, playing music or whatever. Poetry comes up, and wouldn't want to go through another pandemic to come to those conclusions, but we were thrust into it, and it's kind of, I hope people have a better appreciation of things like that, and that's at least some of the stigma has been removed from people who need help, because it's not an anomaly to need help. I think everyone needs help.
And I think because the stigma is there. And one of the things that I'm certified in is mental health first aid. It's an incredible training program that does a lot of work with destigmatization. But I think I want to have empathy for people that are still in that space where, wait, I'm having a hard time. I'm supposed to reach out. I don't want to generalize with any age groups, but if you are having a hard time, maybe that's not something they grew up with. Maybe that's something that was not modeled for them. Did their parents reach out? Did their grandparents reach out? Probably not, because they were coming back from the war and just doing the best they could. So I have a lot of empathy for why things are the way they are now. But with that said, we have a lot of work to do. And we have a lot of resources available. So a lot of us are out here on our soapboxes talking about it ad nauseum, and we will not stop, because everybody, no matter who you are, where you are, you deserve to be helped.
That's a great perspective that you just described there, that not just when we talk about wellness, but even the way people think, especially when with politics so much part of the discussion all the time, people never ask, where did you come from? What did you experience? What kind of world did you grow up in and were influenced by?
Yes.
And all of these things come together to form the person we all become. And that's really what we're talking about today in a lot of ways is, you kind of try to, we focus too much, I think, on the symptom instead of the underlying causes that you have to really address.
Absolutely.
And I imagine that's a big part of what you do too.
Absolutely.
I also imagine you're a lot more aware of those things than the average bear would be.
I've done a lot of work, so.
Did you, I know you mentioned that this was part of your life, your whole life. Were you aware of this even as a little kid, that you had an interest in connecting with people on this level? And
looking back, because I've done a lot of reflection, I see it now. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if in the moment I did understand those things. A lot of people ask now, why are you going into social work? And it takes me back to this very specific moment. I had to be younger than 10. maybe somewhere around 6 or 7, but we had just done the drive-through run, and my brothers had their own thing that they like to eat, and I had mine. And I remember we were driving out of the parking lot, and I saw somebody that was living without housing. And in that moment, it was like, how is somebody not able to eat and I have this hot meal available to me? And that moment really shaped a lot of my life. I didn't, again, know it at the time, but this ability to connect, that's always been there. I've always had that.
That's a gift.
Yes.
We were talking. I was talking with a coworker. We were talking about journalism, and the same theme sort of applies to social work, where it's really an important part of the world in so many ways, but it drives people away because it's maybe not as lucrative as other fields, and it's like a labor of love, and it's hard to teach young people the value of a labor of love and peace of mind. And I was telling you a little bit about my career, spending it mostly in corporate, and looking back, I was a victim of that in a lot of ways, just right. Where you grow up in a world where maybe the right things are not valued as much as they should be, and that the wrong things are valued too much. And then you turn around and decades of a career pass you by chasing what really wasn't in your heart.
Right.
And in my case, it took a series of bounces to end up at Stony Brook. But I think that, when you talk to young people, the peace of mind and being happy with yourself and that inner peace, it's really, people undervalue that so much. And I always tried to instill that in my kids. I always used to tell them, money follows happiness. Happiness doesn't follow money.
So true. And
I guess it did get through to them. My kids are fortunately, they're in good places, and I tried to give them the confidence to make their way and follow their heart, their definition of their heart, instead of someone else's definition of what they thought their heart should be.
Right.
And they all kind of followed their dreams in some variation.
And even just having that intention as a parent is amazing, right? So no one in this world is perfect. We know this, right? So as a parent, you kind of come into this knowing you're going to mess things up no matter what, or any relationship. But that's amazing you instilled that in them.
It didn't seem amazing at the time. It just was something I believed in. But, when I would go to the parent-teacher nights and you get to see the other parents, it always horrified me how much pressure people put on their kids, or, pushing them into careers where money was, even if their heart wasn't in it. And it came up several times where the kid was into music.
Right.
And I remember having conversations with people where telling them, like, don't pull away someone's dream. Let them follow it, and you can't always see where the end of the road is, but you have to trust the path.
Exactly.
And that's one of the hard parts of parenting, is that it's hard to trust paths you don't have experience with, and the paths of generations change with the generations.
Absolutely.
And it kind of comes back to the human resistance to change.
Yeah. And also, too, you had brought up about social work, right? So you're right. In the past, it was not a lucrative way to go in your life. Honorable in the sense that you're a public servant and you're a helper and all these things. But while those things exist still, you are able to make a really good living these days as a social worker. And there's so many different ways that I've learned that people are diversifying that work, whether it's, running for office, whether it's having their own private practice, whatever it might be. There's so many ways to make these things that maybe in the past wouldn't have been as lucrative, incredibly lucrative. You might have to diversify. And even as a musician, there's so many things you can do to make that path come true. But I can only imagine as a parent how challenging that would be to navigate.
Yeah, it's understanding the abstract is not a human strength. Even for people who are, deep thinkers and really put thought into that, it's hard to trust the arts and the humanities. And I always try to promote the humanities and arts here at Stony Brook as much as I can, because that's what's in my heart. But I also see that it's important. It's an important part of the bigger picture.
Yes.
We focus on STEM and medicine and also very important parts of the world we live in. But it comes back down to what we were talking before. There's a balance to it.
Absolutely.
And I think in the end, it's however successful you are at finding that balance is how successful you are going to be in whatever field you go into.
Yeah.
Because you need to leave it behind and live your life when you're not at work, and find work that you can be proud of when you are at work. And, you start to see the cracks in all those things when you start looking at people en masse.
And we're so lucky here on campus to be able to come to work. And we were talking earlier, 3 art galleries on campus. We have the Stoller Center here. Like, we have so much ability to engage in the arts while we're at work, right? But how many of us are getting out of our seat at lunch and going to enjoy those things?
It's true. And we might as well plug the Zoo Care Gallery while we're talking about this. They have a new exhibition every semester highlighting both the works of some fantastic students in the arts program, and they also have exhibitions from artists from outside campus. And, taken together, it really gives you a great exposure to some really wonderful art that's going on out there.
We have the art crawl.
The art crawl, yep. It's we try to hit that all the time also. It's really great to see that stuff. And also, part of those programs is they'll have the artists at the exhibitions and they'll talk a little bit about their work. And, that's one of the fascinating things to me, just hearing the stories that drive the art. And it gives me hope to see that there are people, especially young people, thinking about deeper things out there. And it's not always easy to see deep thought taking place, but then you get to hear what drove this piece of art or what drove this sculpture or this art exhibition. And it's a good feeling, and I'm very proud to be part of that at Stony Brook.
Same.
And it's to bring it back to what we're talking about, it's nice to know that there are people like you out there working to bring services to make things better for the campus community, and that they're available. We just got to get the word out, and you just have to reach out.
We're here.
Yeah.
Anytime.
We're winding down to the end. It was a pleasure speaking with you. It was a quick hour. I enjoyed very much talking to you. And thank you for keeping this on your calendar as long as you did.
Of course. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it was a great conversation.
Thank you for that. And I told you there was one more request with your name on it.
Let's do Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix.
It's funny you mention that, and I'll talk while I'm. I just filled in for a gig. I'm a bass player, and one of my friends lost his bass player, and Little Wing was on the song list, and I had to learn it, and I never realized what a great song it was.
Oh, well, welcome to the top 10 songs of my life. So.
I was listening to the Derek and the Dominoes version, but I'm going to leave you with Jimi Hendrix and Little Wing. And thank you, Nicole, and everyone else out there. Have a great holiday. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Until then, do something that makes you smile, and more importantly, do something that makes someone else smile. Carry that forward. It's more important today than ever before. That is it for me, and this is Little Wing.